Page 31. Cuckoo, Cheating by Nature, by Davies. Chapter 2. How the Cuckoo Lays Her Egg. 2.3. The cuckoo replaces eggs from the host nest. Pound Green Common was an isolated patch of undulating grassland and heather, about 400 per 600 meters, and bounded on three sides by woodland. It was a man-made common, cleared for grazing in the 18th century, which then provided ideal habitat for meadow pipits and other groundnesting species, tree pipits, skylarks, yellowhammers and stonechats. It had a few scattered tall trees, perfect lookout posts for female cuckoos searching for host nests. Chance's most detailed work on the common was during the 5 summers from 1918 to 1922. Together with his 4 assistants, O.R., Owen, P.B. Smyth and the 2 Simmondses, a local coal miner and his son, he began a regular routine of searching for host nests. By clever detective work from collecting cuckoo and host eggs, they slowly pieced together the remarkable story of how the cuckoo lays her eggs. The first summer, 1918, Britain was still at war and it was possible to make only casual visits to the common. When Chance first visited, at the end of May, breeding had already been underway for a month. He soon discovered how hard it was to find nests in the dense vegetation. Pipit nests were on the ground and often tucked away out of sight in little hollows, under tufts of grass or clumps of heather, and even when the collie dog of the elder Simmons flushed a sitting bird close by their feet, they often failed to find the nest. They often heard male cuckoos calling, a cuckoo, and also the bubbling cries of females, best described as a water-bubbling chuckle. On some days they saw a female glide down from a tree perch to the ground, but it was usually impossible to locate the exact spot she had landed. Despite these early frustrations, the team found eggs from 2 female cuckoos that summer. Both laid the brown eggs typical for cuckoos of the meadow pipit race, but each female's eggs were distinguishable by slight differences in their ground shade and markings. 1. A cuckoo A laid her eggs on one side of the common, 10 eggs in the nests of meadow pipits and 1 in a skylark's nest. The other, a cuckoo B, laid her eggs in an adjacent territory on the other side, just 4 eggs, all in meadow pipit nests. Chance collected all these cuckoo and host eggs and to preserve them he blew out their contents by making a tiny hole at each end of the egg. By examining the embryos, he could determine the stage of incubation. In each parasitized clutch, cuckoo and host egg had about the same stage of development, so Chance concluded that the cuckoo must time the laying of her egg in each nest to coincide with the days the hosts laid. Meadow pipits usually lay a clutch of 4 or 5 eggs, 1 per day. So the cuckoo has only a short window of opportunity, just 4 or 5 days at each host nest. To parasitize 10 or more nests in a season, she must have to watch all the hosts carefully to get her timing right. In future, Chance determined to watch the cuckoos as well as search for host nests. The next season was eagerly awaited. Meadow pipits were clearly the favored host, but in the spring of 1919 there were only 10 pairs on the common, so Chance decided to give the cuckoos a helping hand. In early May, just before the cuckoos arrived, he collected all the pipit clutches that were already being incubated and so were too late for parasitism. These pairs immediately began to build new nests, and within 7 or 8 days they had begun a replacement clutch, so the result was more pipits at the right stage for the early cuckoo eggs. To Chance's delight, the same 2 female cuckoos returned, recognizable by their characteristic eggs, and they laid in exactly the same, adjacent territories as the previous year. During this second season, 18 eggs were collected from cuckoo A, all from meadow pipit nests, even though there were many skylarks, tree pipits and lets nesting in her territory. showing convincingly that she was a host specialist. Only 2 eggs were found from Cuckoo B, both again in meadow pipit nests. By checking nests daily, to determine exactly when the cuckoo egg was laid, and then again later to determine exactly when it hatched, Chance calculated that the cuckoo hatched after only 12 days incubation, compared with 13 days for the host eggs. Therefore, provided the female cuckoo timed the laying of her egg correctly, the shorter incubation time gave the cuckoo chick the chance to eject the host eggs before they hatched, likely to be an easier task than ejecting struggling host chicks. Chance was now able to estimate the laying dates for the few cuckoo eggs that he had failed to find until after incubation had begun. The sequence from Cuckoo A, which he was sure were all the eggs that she had laid that summer, showed that she laid on alternate days. The first 5 were laid in this regular sequence from 18 to 26 May. Then there was a 3-day gap. The next 13 were laid on alternate days from 30 May to 23 June. Chance had, in fact, beaten Ray's record of 17 eggs in a season by 1, but his misinformation led him to believe that he was still 3 eggs short. So in the 3rd season, 1920, he decided to increase the availability of pipit nests still further by farming both parasitized and unparasitized clutches throughout the season to make sure there would always be a suitable nest available for the cuckoo whenever she needed one. If a pipit had an empty nest on the day a cuckoo was due to lay, Chance added an egg or 2, from another pipit or skylark nest, to make the nest appear as if laying had begun. To his relief, Cuckoo returned once more. This time, with Chance's help, she laid a total of 21 eggs, 20 in meadow pipit nests and 1 in the nest of a tree pipit, and his world record was secure. This 3rd season had revealed more about cuckoo behavior, too. As Chance checked each host nest, he often flushed Cuckoo from a nearby tree and realized that she was busy doing the same thing. So the easiest way to find host nests was simply to watch her. By enlisting the cuckoo as a member of our band of observers, Chance wrote, we could make her do much of the donkey work. By the end of May 1920, Cuckoo had already laid 10 eggs. Chance knew she laid on alternate days, so by careful farming of clutches to restart nests in rotation, at 2-day intervals, he could be fairly sure which nest she would choose. But still he had failed to witness the laying event itself. At first he assumed that the cuckoo would lay early in the morning, just as the pipits did. So he stayed out all night on the common to make sure he was at the host nest at dawn, but when he checked the nest he was surprised to find that the cuckoo had already laid her egg. Next time he got there even earlier. One cold and misty morning, he awoke at 3:45 a.m. to find a new cuckoo egg alongside a pipit egg, both cold and damp and clearly unattended during the night. Pipits do not begin incubation until the clutch is complete, or nearly so. He suddenly realized his mistake. The cuckoo must have laid her egg the previous afternoon. With the discovery of this final piece of the cuckoo's timing puzzled, the team of observers now focused their attention on the female cuckoo every afternoon. At last they were able to watch her lay, most often between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. Beforehand, she would remain motionless on a branch, hidden in a tree up to 100 meters from the host nest. This could be an agonizing wait for Chance and his team. Sometimes she sat there for 30 minutes, sometimes for 2.5 hours. Then, when she was ready, she glided down to the nest, remained there for usually just 10 seconds or so, and left. When the observers checked the nest, they found one host egg missing and the cuckoo egg in its place. Incredibly, she had removed a host egg and laid her own all in just a few seconds. But still no one had seen exactly how she laid. Page 34.